Last time, Albert Breer, you were on this program. You were with the Cleveland Browns way back when they only had 4 quarterbacks. Why are we adding
now
a 6th?
5 and 6?
What's happening? What's going on?
Well, the guys are hurt. Like so, like they.
So Pickett's, but I thought Pickett's back and
Pickett's back, but he dealt with the hamstring. Shedeur was nicked up. I think Dylan was dealing with something. So
right.
I mean, like. Snoop Huntley's there, I think, is just an arm for right now.
Okay, and the 40-year-old Flacco, he's the guy, right?
I think so, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think like they're in a weird transition spot where I think Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski were really honest with themselves about where they are, and that maybe that window of the group that they made the playoffs with twice over the last 5 years is up. And I think that sort of informs the trade of the 2nd overall pick, where they felt like we need to get younger and we need volume of young players. It can't, like Travis Hunter's great, and they would have taken him if they had sat there too, but we really just need volume. And part of it was the loss of the draft picks in the Deshaun Watson trade. Mm-hmm. And so they've got like these older players and Myles Garrett and Joel Bitonio and Denzel Ward. But on the other end, they're trying to get younger. They're trying to balance their roster out. And I think that's sort of why they're kind of in that weird spot at quarterback where it's like, we'll make it work this year. I think the one thing that people don't pay attention to, because I know there's been a lot of noise in Cleveland about playing the rookies and why would you even bother with the older guys, is for a team in transition, you have to give, and you know this, Rich, you have to give the locker room the best chance. Like there are 10 other guys in that huddle trying to make a living that have careers where you can't just turn it into an experiment with rookies out there. So I think Joe probably gives them the best answer. I think the 2 veterans are still ahead of the 2 rookies.
Is Shedeur making the team? Is he
I think he'll make the team. I think he'll make the team, but when he got there, he was way behind. And he's made up some ground, but I think part of it, like his ability to operate the offense, is part of what he needs. He needs to take that to a higher level to get first team reps. Because if you're a football team looking, and this is the simplest thing in the world, if you're a football team looking to get ready for the season, and you got veteran players, again, like your Joel Bitonios or your Jerry Jeudy's in that huddle that are trying to prepare for a season, you can't fiddle around with a young quarterback who can't operate the offense yet.
What are you saying, like calling the plays in the huddle?
Yeah,
and
stuff like that. Like
the
the operational stuff is the stuff he was behind on that he had to catch up on.
Right.
And so, like, and look, like by all accounts, he's worked really hard at that, but there was a lot of ground for him to make up. You know, and Dylan Gabriel, because he started at 3 different colleges, was in college for 6 years at Oregon and UCF and Oklahoma, was just way ahead of him when they came in, which is why Gabriel's gotten the first team reps and Shedeur has.
I'm just interested in how we're going to play this thing out. We're starting Shedeur Sanders for the opener almost, I don't know, out of necessity with the way that quarterback room looks like right now, Ryan, but hasn't the whole thing left the decision makers in Cleveland with potential egg on their face? If Shedeur wins this preseason, how do you justify spending a third on a quarterback that may not play for your franchise ever?
Well, I mean, we could look at it that way, Joe, or we could look at it the same way that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan looked at having Brock Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant outplay Trey Lance eventually. But we're not quite at that point in the conversation. And the other thing I caution against, and Shedeur was my quarterback too throughout the draft process. I thought he wouldn't get past the Steelers at 20. He obviously went in the 5th round. But I do remember a few years ago when they drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson on day 3, and he absolutely balled out in one of his early preseason games. And didn't work out. He has since been traded, and he is no longer in Cleveland. So I would just take a pinch of caution as we watch this and just see what it looks like, because, you know, we talk about it all the time. There's not going to be anything intricate with the defenses he's facing. He's just going to be asked to execute, play on time, try to get through his reads, don't make mistakes, get in and out of the huddle. Those are the things you want to see. The quarterback competition, quotation marks, feels like it's going to be Joe Flacco, in part because of injury, in part because he's probably outplayed Kenny Pickett by a little bit. And then the question becomes who's going to be the next QB among the rookies, whether it's Dylan Gabriel, who's currently banged up, and then Shedeur Sanders, who is QB4 for much of training camp. So I'm not going to read too much into it just yet. Now, if he comes out and balls out, I'll be happy for him. We can have a conversation after the fact. But this is an opportunity to go out there and play and play with some, if not 1s, 2s, and see what you can do, because he has not had a ton of opportunities in training camp so far.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is absolutely a huge opportunity. If this was a NASCAR race, Shedeur Sanders is 4th place by far, but the guys in front of him all just got flat tires, and now he has a chance to kind of zoom out in front, surprisingly. I mean, You look at how the Cleveland Browns have handled him since drafting him in the 5th round. He didn't get any first-team reps in the spring. He hasn't gotten very many first-team reps in training camp, and maybe that's where it comes in with Joe talking about the Browns feeling like they might have egg on their face. Well, they've been limiting what he's doing in practice. If he comes in against the Carolina Panthers and balls out and just throws for 200 yards and completes 80% of his passes and just looks fantastic overall, well, then you got to put him in the conversation. Joe Flacco is the front runner, but you got to put him in the conversation. So it will be interesting, especially because Shedeur Sanders gets to play the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you guys watched the Panthers play last season, but they had the worst defense in the NFL. They gave up more yardage than any other team, and this is the preseason version of the Panthers, not going to be their first team the whole time. So Shedeur Sanders certainly could go out there and put up some impressive numbers. So I'm going to be very interested to see how he plays on Friday night.
Yeah, the general manager selecting a quarterback one day and then the owner selecting one another. Totally run-of-the-mill stuff here in Cleveland, as it always is. Let's close the loop on another Monday topic we had, gentlemen. It's Richardson or Jones, or so we were told, but kind of Richardson first, or at least that's how it's going to go for game 1 of the preseason. John, do you see any of this as an effort to simulate pressure for the third-year quarterback, still longing for that experience and maybe put him under the gun early?
Yeah, it does feel like that. Let him get under center first. Let him be the starter in the first preseason game, and you see what happens, because now it feels like that Shane Steichen's thinking, all right, if he can go out there and prove something he hasn't been able to prove, which is that he can be an accurate quarterback, not turn the ball over, then maybe that makes him the front runner for this QB job. And as we know, Daniel Jones is going to play, and then Daniel Jones is going to start the second preseason game. So it's not like Richardson's going to get jump way ahead in this competition, even if he plays well against the Ravens. Now, the downside for Anthony Richardson is he is playing the one team, the one head coach who treats every preseason game like a Super Bowl. The Ravens are 20-5 in their past 25 preseason games. So maybe Richardson, this is good for him because it's going to feel more like a real game going up against Baltimore. But absolutely, you're Anthony Richardson. You're kind of on your last attempt probably to win a starting job. And if you want to get a leg up in this competition, you need to go out and play well against Baltimore in this first preseason game. So there's absolutely some pressure on him.
So Shedeur Sanders, 5th-round pick, Breach, rookie, and Anthony Richardson, year 3, former top 5 pick. And they basically need to do the same things. Throw the ball on time, don't make mistakes, get in and out of the huddle, hand the ball off without mistakes, don't muff snaps, all those things. And that'll be a step in the right direction. Now, we're going into year 3 with Anthony Richardson. You'd like to see him a little further along. And when you read the training camp reports out of Indianapolis, I shouldn't laugh, but the biggest issue in the red zone for the quarterbacks, both AR5 and, of course, Daniel Jones. And look, I'll just say this. It feels like Anthony Richardson is going to be the starter because Daniel Jones isn't even Joe Flacco. And no disrespect to Daniel Jones if he's watching this, but there's a reason he's on his 3rd team already after sort of flaming out with Brian Dable in New York. So there are many reasons to be excited about Anthony Richardson, but as Breach pointed out, we have not seen them. And when you are consistently in a graphic with Tim Tebow and Jamarcus Russell, that ain't great. So this is an opportunity to right that ship. Go out there, play mistake-free football, and see what happens. And, you know, don't take unnecessary hits, which got him injured earlier in his career.
I was going to say Flacco being our through line here from Indianapolis to Cleveland. We'll see who it is and where it is, but clean execution in that process is what we're looking for early on in these preseason games. Speaking of pressure, Breach, your beloved Bengals applying some of their own, a team-wide memo perhaps in order with a reminder that the season starts in September and not October. Zach Taylor says the season starts right now. How do you like the decision to roll the starters out there in the preseason?
Joe, if you have watched the Bengals play the first 2 weeks of the season over the past 6 years, then you understand why they are doing this. If there is one thing Zach Taylor has not been able to do, it's been able to get his team on the same page to start the season. Since he took over as head coach in 2019, the Bengals are 1-11 in the first 2 weeks of the season. And you think, oh, well, maybe they've been better with Joe Burrow. No, they're 1-9 with Joe Burrow. It has not been any better. And so a big part of that is because Burrow's been dealing with injuries. He had the calf injury. He had his appendix removed, the wrist injury last year. So there's just always been something that's kind of kept the offense from getting in sync. Well, there are no excuses this year because everyone's under contract. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow's healthy. He said he's throwing the football as well as he's ever thrown it. So now this is where you get your starters in there. You get some snaps and you make sure you don't go to Cleveland in week 1 and lose 10-6 because your offense isn't in sync. So I do like this move by Zach Taylor, and I will say he's been changing a lot this season. It's like he went back to the drawing board and said, we got to do things differently. They actually are practicing in the morning now at training camp. Previously, they've been practicing in the afternoon, so they flipped around quite a few things just to kind of try and fix things so that this team doesn't come out of the gate so slowly.
Yeah, Joe, there are a lot of NFL games that take place at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, so those a.m. practices are probably going to pay off really well for the Cincinnati Bengals. But Breach's point is right, and when we did the Pick Six podcast, I would ask Breach what would I ask you every week, Breach, about Zach Taylor?
Is Zach Taylor a good coach?
Because we don't know. You can't go 1-11 in the first 2 weeks of games your entire time as a head coach and go 0